Your mind is the most powerful force in your life. It can build your dreams or destroy your confidence. It can fill you with courage or trap you in fear. Every achievement you've ever admired began with one decision made inside someone's mind. The question is not whether your mind is powerful. The question is who is in control, you or your thoughts. Most people spend their lives reacting instead of creating. They wake up worried about yesterday, anxious about tomorrow, and distracted by everything they cannot control. But here's the truth. Your life changes the moment you stop allowing your thoughts to control you and start telling your mind where to focus. Energy flows where focus goes. If you focus on problems, your problems grow. If you focus on possibilities, your opportunities expand. Every day your brain is listening to the story you repeat. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, your mind will search for proof. If you tell yourself that you are capable, resilient, and determined, your brain will begin searching for evidence to support that belief. Your identity is built through repetition. The words you speak to yourself become the beliefs that shape your future. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is simply a signal that you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. Every successful person has felt fear. The difference is that they refuse to let fear make their decisions. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. The more often you choose action over excuses, the stronger your mind becomes. Mental strength is developed exactly the same way physical strength is, through resistance and repetition. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can always control how you respond. Your response determines your future. When challenges appear, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? That single question transforms obstacles into opportunities. Winners are not people who avoid difficulties. Winners are people who train their minds to grow because of them. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline remains. There will be mornings when you don't feel like working, studying, exercising, or improving yourself. Those are the moments that define your future. Every time you keep your promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-respect. Every small victory teaches your mind that you are someone who follows through. Control your environment because your environment shapes your thinking. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth instead of excuses. Fill your mind with books, podcasts, knowledge, and conversations that elevate your standards. Protect your attention because your attention is your greatest asset. Whatever constantly enters your mind eventually becomes your reality. Remember that your emotions follow your focus. If you spend your day focusing on everything that's wrong, you'll feel defeated. Shift your focus toward gratitude, progress, and purpose. Gratitude doesn't ignore problems. It gives you the strength to overcome them. The fastest way to change your emotional state is to change what you're concentrating on. Success begins long before anyone sees the results. It begins in private moments when nobody is watching. It begins with choosing discipline over comfort, growth over fear, and purpose over distraction. Every champion wins the battle inside their mind before they ever win in the real world. So today, make a decision. Stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop giving fear permission to lead your life. Stop allowing negative thoughts to become permanent beliefs. You are stronger than your doubts, bigger than your obstacles, and more powerful than your circumstances. Take control of your mind, and you will take control of your life. Change your focus, change your habits, change your standards. And when you master your mind, you'll discover that the limits you believed existed were never real. They were only stories waiting to be rewritten. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against your circumstances, your competition, or the obstacles standing in your way. It is the battle taking place inside your own mind every single day. Long before success becomes visible in your life, it is created in your thinking. Every decision you make, every habit you build, and every goal you achieve begins with a single thought. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, those thoughts will eventually shape your actions and your results. But if your mind is trained to focus on possibility, confidence, and determination, you begin to create a completely different future. Your reality is not simply the product of what happens to you. It is the product of how you choose to think about what happens to you. The moment you understand that your thoughts are creating your future, you stop living on autopilot and start taking responsibility for the direction of your life. Think about how many opportunities people miss because they convince themselves they are not ready, not talented enough, or not capable enough. The tragedy is that most limits are never real. They are mental barriers created by years of fear, failure, and negative experiences. Your brain believes the story you repeat the most. If every morning you wake up believing life is unfair and success belongs only to other people, your actions will quietly support that belief. But imagine waking up each day with the certainty that every challenge is preparing you for something greater. Imagine believing that every setback is simply another lesson leading you closer to success. That single shift in thinking changes your attitude, your energy, your confidence, and ultimately the results you produce. Your external world can never rise higher than the beliefs you hold within yourself. The incredible thing about the human mind is that it adapts to whatever you feed it consistently. If you spend hours consuming negative news, comparing yourself to others, and dwelling on everything that has gone wrong, your mind becomes trained to search for disappointment. It begins to notice problems everywhere because that is what you have conditioned it to do. But the opposite is equally true. When you deliberately fill your mind with empowering ideas, inspiring books, meaningful conversations, and positive habits, your brain starts looking for opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin noticing solutions where others only see problems. This isn't luck or magic. It is the natural result of directing your focus toward growth instead of limitation. Every thought you repeatedly entertain becomes another brick in the foundation of the life you are building. There will be moments when life tests you in ways you never expected. You may experience rejection, failure, criticism, or uncertainty. In those moments, the strongest person is not the one with the most resources, but the one with the strongest mindset. Two people can face the exact same situation and walk away with completely different futures because they interpret the experience differently. One person says, "This proves I'll never succeed," while the other says, "This is teaching me how to become stronger." The event is identical, but the meaning they assign to it changes everything. Your mind is constantly giving meaning to every experience, and that meaning determines whether you grow or give up. When you learn to control that interpretation, you stop becoming a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your destiny. Success is not created by occasional moments of inspiration. It is built by thousands of daily decisions that begin in your mind before they ever become visible in your actions. Every morning you have a choice. You can focus on excuses or possibilities. You can focus on your weaknesses or your potential. You can complain about what you lack or appreciate what you already have while working towards something greater. These choices may seem small, but over weeks, months, and years, they create an entirely different life. The people you admire are not necessarily more talented than you. They have simply learned to guard their thoughts with greater discipline. They understand that before you can conquer the world, you must first conquer your own thinking. That invisible victory becomes the foundation for every visible achievement. Right now, whether you realize it or not, your future is being shaped by the thoughts you choose to entertain today. Every positive belief strengthens your confidence. Every courageous decision expands your potential. And every moment you refuse to surrender to negativity rewires your mind for success. You are not trapped by your past mistakes, your current circumstances, or other people's opinions. You are only limited by the beliefs you continue to accept as truth. The moment you decide to think differently, speak differently, and expect more from yourself, your entire direction begins to change. Your reality is never fixed. It is constantly responding to the quality of your mindset. Master your thoughts consistently, and you will discover that the life you once imagined slowly transforms into the life you are actually living. Have you ever noticed how two people can walk into the exact same situation and leave with completely different experiences? One sees opportunity while the other sees obstacles. One finds hope while the other finds reasons to quit. The difference is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is focus. Your mind is like a powerful spotlight. Whatever you choose to shine that light on becomes larger in your life. If your attention is constantly fixed on failure, disappointment, and fear, those things will dominate your emotions and your decisions. But when you deliberately shift your focus towards solutions, growth, and possibilities, your energy begins to change. Your confidence increases, your creativity expands, and your actions become more purposeful. The direction of your focus determines the direction of your life, because your mind naturally moves toward whatever it repeatedly concentrates on. Every single day, you are surrounded by distractions competing for your attention. Social media, negative conversations, criticism, bad news, and endless comparisons can quietly steal your focus without you even realizing it. Before long, you may find yourself worrying about problems that haven't happened, comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, or doubting your own abilities because of outside noise. The truth is, your attention is one of the most valuable assets you possess. Once it is scattered, your energy becomes scattered as well. Successful people understand that protecting their focus is just as important as developing their skills. They choose carefully what they watch, what they listen to, who they spend time with, and what thoughts they allow to stay in their minds. By guarding their focus, they guard their future. Think about the goals you want to achieve. Whether it's building a successful career, improving your health, starting a business, or becoming the best version of yourself, every great accomplishment begins with consistent focus. Dreams are not destroyed overnight. They are slowly weakened by constant distraction. Every time you allow fear, procrastination, or negativity to steal your attention, you move one step further away from your purpose. But every time you bring your mind back to your mission, you strengthen your commitment. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. It allows you to ignore temporary discomfort and remain committed to long-term success. Those who master their focus eventually master their results because they refuse to let distractions become more important than their dreams. Challenges are inevitable, but where you place your attention during difficult moments determines how quickly you recover. When something goes wrong, you have two choices. You can spend hours asking why life is unfair, replaying your failures, and dwelling on everything that went wrong. Or you can ask yourself what lesson you can learn and what action you can take next. One approach drains your energy, while the other fuels your progress. The strongest individuals are not people who avoid problems. They are people who refuse to let problems consume their focus. They understand that every obstacle carries an opportunity, but only for those willing to look beyond the difficulty. By training your mind to search for solutions instead of excuses, you develop resilience that carries you through every setback. Imagine waking up every morning with absolute clarity about what truly matters. Instead of being pulled in 10 different directions, you know exactly where your energy belongs. You begin each day by focusing on your priorities, your purpose, and the actions that move your life forward. Suddenly, small distractions lose their power because your vision is stronger than your temptations. You stop wasting emotional energy on things you cannot control and invest it in actions that create real progress. This level of focus doesn't happen by accident. It is the result of making intentional choices every single day. The more disciplined your focus becomes, the more extraordinary your results will be. Success is rarely about doing everything. It is about consistently doing the right things. Your future is shaped by what consistently holds your attention. Every thought you entertain, every goal you visualize, and every action you repeat is directing your life toward a destination. If you focus on limitations, your world becomes smaller. If you focus on possibilities, your world begins to expand beyond what you once believed was possible. Great leaders, champions, and high achievers all share one powerful habit. They refuse to let temporary setbacks distract them from their ultimate vision. They understand that energy follows focus, and results follow energy. So choose wisely where your attention goes each day, because your focus is writing the story of your future long before the world ever sees your success. The most influential voice you will ever hear is not the voice of your parents, your teachers, your friends, or even your greatest mentor. It is the voice that speaks inside your mind every single day. From the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, you are constantly having conversations with yourself. Those conversations shape the way you see your abilities, your future, and your worth. If your inner voice repeatedly tells you that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not capable enough, your mind begins to accept those words as facts. But when you intentionally replace doubt with confidence and fear with belief, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your mindset shifts, your attitude changes, and your actions start reflecting the person you are choosing to become. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of the words you speak to yourself, because your mind is always listening. Many people underestimate the power of self-talk because they believe words are just words. But every sentence you repeat becomes a message that your subconscious absorbs. Imagine planting seeds in a garden. If you plant seeds of negativity every day, you cannot expect a harvest of confidence and success. In the same way, if you constantly criticize yourself for every mistake, compare yourself to others, and focus only on your weaknesses, your confidence will slowly disappear. On the other hand, when you begin speaking to yourself with encouragement, determination, and belief, you plant the seeds of growth. Positive self-talk is not about pretending life is perfect or ignoring your challenges. It is about choosing words that strengthen your spirit instead of weakening it. The language you use with yourself today becomes the mindset you carry into tomorrow. Think about the moments when you face a difficult challenge. Before you even take the first step, your inner voice begins speaking. It might say, "You're going to fail," or "What if you embarrass yourself?" If you believe those thoughts, fear takes control and you hesitate before you've even started. But imagine responding with a different voice. Imagine saying, "I've overcome challenges before. I am learning every day," or "I may not be perfect, but I am capable." Those simple statements don't magically remove the challenge, but they give you the courage to face it. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It is something you build through the conversations you have with yourself. Every encouraging thought becomes another brick in the foundation of a stronger, more resilient identity. Your identity is not created in one dramatic moment. It is built through repetition. Every day, you are reinforcing beliefs about who you are. If you repeatedly tell yourself that you are disciplined, determined, and committed to growth, your actions gradually begin to align with those beliefs. You start making choices that support the identity you've created. This is why successful people pay close attention to their self-talk. They understand that before they can change their habits, they must first change the story they tell themselves. They don't wait to feel confident before taking action. They speak confidence into existence through consistent belief and persistent effort. Over time, those repeated words become deeply rooted convictions that guide every decision they make. There will be days when nothing seems to go your way. You may experience rejection, disappointment, or failure. During those moments, your inner voice becomes more important than ever. It can either remind you of every mistake you've ever made, or it can remind you of your strength, your resilience, and your ability to rise again. The most successful individuals are not those who never experience self-doubt. They are those who refuse to let self-doubt have the final word. They choose to encourage themselves when no one else is around. They become their own source of motivation, believing that every setback is temporary and every lesson is preparing them for something greater. This habit of positive self-talk transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. Every achievement begins long before the world sees the results. It starts with a single belief repeated over and over until it becomes part of who you are. When you wake up each morning and choose words that empower you instead of limit you, you begin shaping a future filled with confidence and purpose. Stop speaking to yourself as if you're destined to fail. Start speaking as someone who is becoming stronger, wiser, and more determined with every challenge. Your mind believes what it hears most often, so give it words that inspire action, build courage, and create hope. The conversations you have with yourself today are quietly creating the person you will become tomorrow, and that is why your self-talk has the power to transform your entire life. Fear has stopped more dreams than failure ever could. It whispers that you are not ready, that the timing is wrong, that someone else is more talented, and that the risk is too great. It convinces people to stay inside their comfort zone, where everything feels safe but nothing truly grows. The tragedy is that fear often creates an invisible prison. It doesn't lock the doors with chains, it locks them with doubt. Every great achievement in history began with someone who was afraid but chose not to surrender to that fear. They understood that fear is not a sign to stop. It is often a sign that they are standing at the edge of growth. If you wait until fear disappears before taking action, you may spend your entire life waiting. The only way to discover what you are truly capable of is to move forward, even when your heart is racing and uncertainty surrounds you. Many people believe that courageous individuals are born without fear, but nothing could be further from the truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else is more important than fear. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, leader, and innovator has faced moments of doubt. They questioned themselves. They worried about failure. They feared rejection and criticism. Yet they chose to act anyway because they understood a powerful truth action weakens fear. The longer you avoid something that scares you, the bigger it becomes in your imagination. But the moment you take the first step, fear begins to lose its grip. Every small action sends a message to your mind that you are stronger than the obstacles standing in front of you. Think about the opportunities you may have missed because fear convinced you to remain silent or stand still. Perhaps it was the dream you never pursued, the business you never started, the conversation you were afraid to have, or the goal you abandoned before giving yourself a real chance. Fear has a way of making imagined failure seem more painful than lifelong regret. But years from now, you are far more likely to regret the chances you never took than the mistakes you made while trying. Mistakes can teach you valuable lessons, but missed opportunities teach only one painful lesson: the cost of hesitation. Every great success story includes moments of uncertainty, but those moments become stepping stones only because someone decided to move despite their fear. Action has an incredible power to transform not only your circumstances, but also your identity. Every time you face something that intimidates you, you become mentally stronger. Every challenge you overcome reminds you that you are more resilient than you once believed. Confidence is not something you gain before taking action. It is the reward you receive after repeatedly proving to yourself that you can handle difficult situations. This is why successful people are willing to be uncomfortable. They understand that growth and comfort rarely exist in the same place. They welcome challenges because each one expands their abilities, sharpens their character, and prepares them for even greater opportunities ahead. With every courageous decision, your comfort zone becomes larger and your potential becomes greater. There will always be voices around you telling you to play it safe, lower your expectations, or avoid taking risks. Sometimes those voices will come from others, and sometimes they will come from your own mind. But you must learn to distinguish between fear that protects you from real danger and fear that simply protects you from growth. Most of the fears that hold people back are not life-threatening. They are ego-threatening. They fear looking foolish, being judged, making mistakes, or hearing the word no. Yet every person who has achieved greatness has experienced those very things. They accepted that temporary discomfort was a small price to pay for a lifetime of fulfillment. The willingness to embrace uncertainty is often what separates extraordinary people from those who settle for an ordinary life. Imagine what your life could become if you stopped asking, "What if I fail?" and started asking, "What if I succeed?" Imagine how different your future would look if every decision were guided by purpose instead of fear. Every dream you've ever had is waiting on the other side of a decision to act. Fear may still walk beside you, but it no longer has to lead you. Let determination become louder than doubt. Let your vision become stronger than your excuses. And let every step you take remind you that courage grows through action. The moment you choose movement over hesitation, you begin proving to yourself that fear is not the author of your story. You are. One of the biggest myths people believe is that motivation alone is enough to create an extraordinary life. They wait for the perfect morning when they feel excited, inspired, and ready to conquer the world. But the truth is, motivation is temporary. It rises and falls with your emotions, your circumstances, and even the weather. Some days you wake up energized, while other days you feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. If your success depends only on how motivated you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. This is where discipline becomes your greatest advantage. Discipline is the ability to keep moving forward even when excitement fades. It is the quiet commitment to your goals that continues long after the emotional spark has disappeared. The people who achieve extraordinary success are not those who feel motivated every day. They are those who choose action even on the days when they don't feel like it. Think about an athlete preparing for the biggest competition of their life. They don't become champions because they trained only when they were inspired. They become champions because they showed up on the days when their body was exhausted, when the weather was bad, when no one was watching, and when quitting seemed easier than continuing. Those unseen moments of discipline create the victories that the world eventually celebrates. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether you want to build a business, improve your health, master a new skill, or transform your mindset, the secret is not found in occasional bursts of motivation, but in the daily habits you refuse to break. Every disciplined action, no matter how small, moves you one step closer to becoming the person you aspire to be. Discipline also builds something even more valuable than success. It builds self-respect. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you strengthen your confidence. You begin to trust yourself because your actions consistently match your words. On the other hand, every time you repeatedly delay your goals, make excuses, or quit halfway through, your confidence slowly fades because your mind starts believing that your commitments don't matter. This is why keeping small promises is so important. Waking up when you said you would, finishing the task you started, exercising even for a short time, or reading a few pages every day may seem insignificant, but these small victories are shaping your identity. They prove to yourself that you are someone who follows through, and that belief becomes the foundation of lasting success. Life will constantly test your discipline. There will always be distractions pulling you away from your goals. Social media will tempt you to waste time. Comfort will encourage you to postpone difficult tasks. Friends may invite you to choose short-term pleasure over long-term progress. In those moments, discipline becomes your compass. It reminds you why you started and where you want to go. The most successful people don't have fewer distractions than everyone else. They simply make stronger decisions. They understand that every choice either brings them closer to their dreams or further away from them. By consistently choosing what matters most over what feels easiest, they create results that others only wish for. Their strength comes not from extraordinary talent, but from extraordinary consistency. Another powerful truth about discipline is that it creates freedom. At first, Discipline may feel restrictive because it requires sacrifice and effort, but over time, it gives you the freedom to live the life you truly desire. Financial discipline creates financial security. Health discipline creates physical energy and confidence. Mental discipline creates emotional stability. Time discipline creates opportunities that others miss. Every area of life rewards those who are willing to delay immediate gratification in exchange for lasting success. While others chase temporary comfort, disciplined individuals invest in a future that offers greater fulfillment, greater peace, and greater achievement. The temporary discomfort of discipline is always far less painful than the lifelong regret of unrealized potential. Every great accomplishment is built one disciplined decision at a time. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. You simply have to make the next right choice, then repeat it again tomorrow. Success is not about dramatic moments that happen once in a lifetime. It is about ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. Every morning you choose progress over procrastination. Every evening you choose preparation over excuses. And every challenge you face with determination instead of surrender. You are becoming stronger than you were yesterday. Motivation may start your journey, but discipline is what carries you across the finish line. When you make discipline your daily habit, you no longer depend on your feelings to create success. You depend on your commitment, and commitment never goes out of style. Have you ever wondered why some people remain positive and driven even during life's toughest moments, while others lose hope over the smallest setbacks? The answer often lies in two powerful forces that shape every human being: the environment they live in and the emotions they choose to nurture. Your environment is constantly influencing your mindset, whether you realize it or not. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the content you consume, and the habits you repeat every day all leave a lasting impression on your thinking. If you are surrounded by negativity, excuses, and people who constantly complain, it becomes incredibly difficult to maintain a strong and focused mindset. But when you intentionally place yourself in an environment filled with encouragement, ambition, and personal growth, you naturally begin to think bigger, dream bolder, and believe that success is possible. Your surroundings are either pushing you toward your goals or quietly pulling you away from them. Take a moment to think about the voices you listen to every single day. Are they reminding you of your potential, or are they constantly feeding your fears and insecurities? Every conversation has the power to either energize your spirit or drain your motivation. This is why successful people carefully choose the company they keep. They understand that attitudes are contagious. Spend enough time around people who make excuses, and excuses will begin to sound reasonable. Spend enough time around people who chase excellence, and excellence becomes your new standard. The people closest to you don't determine your destiny, but they certainly influence the direction you're heading. Protecting your environment isn't about avoiding everyone with problems. It's about making sure your greatest influences inspire growth rather than encourage limitation. Just as important as your environment is your ability to manage your emotions. Every day, life presents situations that can trigger frustration, disappointment, anger, fear, or self-doubt. You cannot control every event that happens around you, but you can learn to control how you respond. Emotional mastery is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. When you react impulsively to every challenge, your emotions begin making decisions on your behalf. But when you pause, breathe, and choose a thoughtful response, you regain control of your life. Strong people are not those who never experience negative emotions. They are those who refuse to let those emotions become permanent. They acknowledge their feelings, learn from them, and then continue moving forward with purpose and determination. One of the most powerful tools for controlling your emotions is gratitude. Gratitude has the remarkable ability to shift your focus from what is missing to what is already present in your life. It doesn't mean pretending that life is perfect or ignoring real challenges. Instead, It reminds you that even in difficult seasons, there are still reasons to keep believing, growing, and fighting for your dreams. When you make gratitude a daily habit, your perspective changes. Problems no longer seem impossible because your mind becomes trained to notice opportunities, blessings, and progress instead of dwelling only on obstacles. Gratitude strengthens emotional resilience by reminding you that every challenge is temporary and every step forward, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. In today's fast-moving world, protecting your attention has become more important than ever. Every notification, every headline, every endless scroll on social media is competing for your focus. If you allow every distraction to control your attention, your mind becomes cluttered, your emotions become unstable, and your goals begin to fade into the background. Successful individuals understand that attention is one of life's most valuable resources. They intentionally create space for learning, reflection, and meaningful action. They replace mindless distractions with books that educate them, conversations that inspire them, and habits that move them closer to their purpose. By protecting what enters their minds, they protect the quality of the decisions they make and the future they are creating. Imagine waking up each morning surrounded by people who encourage your dreams, filling your mind with knowledge that inspires action, and choosing emotional responses that strengthen rather than weaken your spirit. Imagine refusing to let negativity, criticism, or temporary setbacks steal your peace or distract you from your purpose. That kind of life doesn't happen by chance. It happens through intentional choices made every single day. When you take control of your environment and your emotions, you stop becoming a product of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of your future. Every positive influence you welcome into your life and every empowering emotion you choose to cultivate becomes another step toward becoming the strongest, most confident, and most successful version of yourself. Everything you have ever wanted in life begins with one powerful decision: to become the master of your own mind instead of allowing your circumstances to control it. Most people spend years trying to change the world around them while ignoring the world within them. They believe that happiness will come after they earn more money, that confidence will appear after they achieve success, or that peace will arrive once life becomes easier. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Every lasting transformation starts inside your mind before it ever becomes visible in your life. Your thoughts shape your beliefs influence your actions, and your actions determine your results. When you learn to master your thinking, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. The greatest victory you will ever experience is not over another person. It is over the doubts, fears, and limitations that once lived inside your own mind. The mind is incredibly powerful because it believes whatever you consistently feed it. If you repeatedly focus on failure, your brain begins expecting disappointment. If you constantly replay painful memories and negative experiences, those emotions become stronger with time. But imagine what happens when you intentionally train your mind to focus on growth, possibility, and purpose. Suddenly, challenges become lessons instead of roadblocks. Failure becomes feedback instead of defeat. Obstacles become opportunities to prove your strength rather than reasons to quit. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but every positive thought, every disciplined decision, and every courageous action rewires your mindset little by little. Eventually, your new way of thinking becomes your new way of living, and the life you once dreamed about begins to feel possible because your mind has accepted it as your reality. Mastering your mind also means raising your personal standards. Many people settle for average because they believe average is all they deserve. They tolerate unhealthy habits, negative relationships, endless procrastination, and excuses that slowly steal their potential. But the moment you decide that your standards will no longer be based on convenience, but on excellence, everything begins to change. You stop accepting excuses from yourself because you know your future is too valuable to waste. You become more intentional with your time, your energy, and your choices. Every decision starts reflecting the person you are becoming rather than the person you used to be. High standards don't make life harder. They make your future brighter because they force you to grow into someone capable of achieving extraordinary things. There will always be moments when your mind tries to pull you backward. It will remind you of your past mistakes, your failures, and every reason why you should stay inside your comfort zone. Those moments are not signs that you're weak. They are opportunities to strengthen your mental discipline. Every time you refuse to believe a limiting thought, you become stronger. Every time you replace fear with faith, excuses with action, and doubt with determination, you are reshaping your identity. Mental mastery is not about eliminating negative thoughts completely. It is about refusing to give them control over your decisions. Your thoughts may visit, but they don't have to become permanent residents in your mind. You have the power to choose which beliefs deserve your attention and which ones must be left behind. The people who leave a lasting impact on the world are not necessarily the smartest, the richest, or the most naturally talented. They are the ones who learned to stay committed when others gave up, who remained focused when distractions appeared, and who believed in themselves long before anyone else did. Their greatest strength was not found in perfect circumstances, but in an unshakable mindset. They understood that every victory is won twice, first in the mind and then in reality. Before they built businesses, won championships, wrote best-selling books, or inspired millions, they first conquered the invisible battles taking place inside their own thoughts. They realized that mastering the mind is the foundation upon which every meaningful achievement is built. Imagine waking up every morning with complete confidence that no obstacle is greater than your determination, no failure is stronger than your resilience, and no challenge can steal your purpose. Imagine becoming the kind of person who responds to setbacks with wisdom, who welcomes growth instead of fearing change, and who refuses to let temporary emotions decide a permanent future. That is what happens when you master your mind. You begin living with intention instead of reaction, with courage instead of fear, and with vision instead of limitation. Your circumstances no longer define your future because your mindset has become stronger than any obstacle standing in your way. When you truly master your mind, you unlock a level of strength, confidence, and potential that has been waiting inside you all along, ready to transform not only your life, but every life you choose to influence. As you move forward from this moment, remember that the greatest power you will ever possess is the power to control your own mind. Every dream you achieve, every obstacle you overcome, and every success you create begins with the thoughts you choose today. Your mind can either become your greatest ally or your biggest limitation. The choice is entirely yours. Refuse to let fear, doubt, negativity, or temporary setbacks dictate the direction of your life. Instead, train your mind to focus on growth, embrace discipline over comfort, replace excuses with action, and believe in your ability to rise no matter how many times you fall. Every small decision you make strengthens your mindset and shapes the future you're building. The journey to success is not about becoming someone else. It is about unlocking the strength, confidence, and potential that already exists within you. Stay committed to your goals, even when motivation fades. Protect your focus from distractions. Surround yourself with people who inspire greatness. And never stop believing that you are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. Remember, every champion first wins the battle in their mind before they win in the real world. So take control of your thoughts, master your emotions, raise your standards, and step boldly toward the life you deserve. Your future is not waiting for the perfect moment. It is waiting for the moment you decide to take control of your mind and never look back.